I think one of the highlights or lowlights, if you're Scotty Scheffler, was the arrest before the second round of the PGA Championship in May in Louisville. How did you spend your Scotty arrest day? Keep in mind, Golf Channel was not on the air for about 12 hours. Rex was like down at the jail. I was flying over to the golf course. How did you spend that day, which I would argue is one of the most surreal, bizarre days we've ever had, and I think was sort of the day of 2024 in terms of golf?
I spent that day. I woke up and I was getting ready to actually go to the gym because, again, as you said, we didn't have shows. So I was going to go down to the gym, get a workout in. And all of a sudden, I get a text message go, "Did you see what happened to Scotty?" I go, "What?" I just turn on ESPN because I know they had the coverage and they had shows on early. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm like, "Oh, wow. You got to be kidding me. This is not happening." And so immediately we're all on text chains. I'm on one with Rex, Todd Lewis and our producer, Matt Haggerty. And they're just trying to figure out what we can do, what we can't do. Now, all of our equipment is out at the golf course. So, like, Todd's texting me, "Hey, what can we do? Can we get down to the jail to have a camera?" I go, "Todd, like, all the cameras, all of our live views, anything that we could do, anything to do a show with is back at the golf course, which is a good 40 minutes away from where we were staying in Louisville." So what I did was, got dressed, didn't really actually and then we kind of rushed out there. And what we were tasked with was literally just when Scotty got onto the practice facility, from when he got into the practice facility to when he teed off on the first hole, and really kind of a little bit past that, follow him. So we had a camera on him doing all through his whole warm up and everything else like that. Walked him to the first tee, had a camera on the first tee, and just to kind of chronicle everything that was kind of going on, and doing it in what we call live mode, which is just full speed, with all audio. And so that was kind of crazy. Interviewed the lawyer with Todd Lewis that day, at some at some point. Um, and then, yeah, just was kind of there when Scotty was getting kind of asked those questions when he finished after shooting. I mean, might have been the best round of the year, by the way. On the PGA Tour. I mean, the guy shot 65 when he was stretching in jail. Um, I mean, as you said, one of the most surreal moments of the year. And then just they're listening to him take the questions and answering what he can, what he can and can't answer, and be as nice as possible without throwing the Louisville PD under the bus. But that was a crazy day. It was very insane of how all that was going on. And as you guys said, we were not on the air because we don't for the layman's terms, we don't have the rights there for that nature. So it was crazy.
Now, Lav and I talk about this a lot, how terrifying TV can be, and it seems to come at you fast. And over the history of your career, and Lav pointed out that there was a time in your career when you produced studio shows. You produced me in the Vodka Show a long time ago for the Grey Goose Show. Long time ago. Give me one of those terrifying moments as a producer where everything seemed like it was going wrong.
You know what one of the craziest ones was? The Charlie Beljan at the old Disney.
The Disney.
Oh, wow. Now we're going back into
12 years ago. I was producing that night, and we're watching the broadcast as all that's kind of unfolding. And so for us, we're coming on live right after that show. It's our broadcast, so we luckily have a lot of ways to do things. And so we're coming on, and we've got to, you're trying to get an interview with Charlie Beljan. You're trying to set up you're trying to work with the truck to get the broadcast cameras to set up like a interview with, maybe, I think it was Jerry Foltz back in the day, doing that. But the craziness that was kind of going on, trying to figure out what went on, what was going wrong. You could see what was going wrong in front of us, but we couldn't. And then sending a producer and a camera and a reporter to the hospital that night.
This was the panic attack that Charlie Beljan had while he was in contention for the PGA Tour event. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was crazy. Because because luckily we have especially then at that time we had what we got, and we still have coordinating producers kind of sitting in the back of the, when you're in the front, so in a production, when you're producing, you're sitting in the front bench, and then there's like back bench, and you have someone back there kind of watching and making sure you've got everything kind of going on right, and kind of maybe planning ahead for you a little bit if you're getting in some crazy stuff. And luckily you have someone back there to try to work with all that stuff to make it a little smoother. But that was actually really crazy. I was talking about that with one of our former colleagues, about that. He was the field producer that went to the hospital, and we're just kind of just laughing about it. Like, man, that was nuts. That was kind of not on the Scotty lines, but it's something that was pretty insane that was going on when you have to come on immediately following that broadcast and make sense of everything.